I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protect the different, the stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause a view from the spectrum is a better point of view. The question at hand is...
Hi, I'm Tally and welcome back to Autism 30. Today on our podcast, we are speaking with Mrs. Vicky Ryan, founder and leader of the new girls group located at the Pacific Autism Family Network and Good Life Fitness Family Autism Hub, the beautiful building in which we are recording this interview in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. In addition to being the founder of Girls Club, Vicky Ryan is the mother to a beautiful and sweet 5-year-old girl with autism. Professionally, she is a business performance and professional development consultant working across a wide range of industries, including nonprofit, natural resources, finance, and technology. Her passion is her family. Creating an accepting, loving, and supportive home is of utmost importance to her, and extending outwards to help creating an accepting, supportive, inclusive, and compassionate community. Welcome, Vicky.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, how did your journey in autism start?
It started about 3 years ago. My daughter, just before she turned 3, was diagnosed.
And where did you come up with the idea of this group?
It came up, it percolated quite slowly in my brain at first. I was always thinking about my daughter, and she's 5 years old, and we delayed kindergarten. So we're still in preschool, so she's not around other kids that much, and she has not had an opportunity to make friends. But she's very interested in other children. We go to the playground, we go to the pool. She's an observer, so she's watching them, she's looking at them, and I started thinking, you know, we need to get her some friends, and I don't want to wait on that. In addition to that, we're going to be sending my daughter to a private school in September, and most of the kids in the private school are boys. It's a school specifically for autism, and autism is more prevalent in boys, so there's quite a large number of boys in this school, very, very few girls.
Yes, and I know that's something that you kind of are hinting at, but socialization is extremely important for our individuals, meaning that they might not have a lot of opportunity, like typical children might have, to join various activities around the Lower Mainland, for example, but socializing young is extremely important for our girls, especially because, as you did clearly mention, autism is clearly more prevalent currently in boys than it is in girls. And it's important to surround your girl with other girls for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And how did you get it from idea to fruition?
That's the part that went really quickly. So I mulled the idea in my mind for a while, and I kind of had it kicking around, and then I had this idea like a girls' club where we can come together and keep it low key and relaxed and fun. And I thought we need a place to be doing this, and my house is too small. So where would a good place be? So that's when I reached out to the Pacific Autism Family Network.
Yes, they're wonderful.
Amazing. They've been incredible champions of Girls Club and supportive, and I reached out.
And they've been champions of all aspects of autism.
Absolutely. True. And so I emailed and I asked for a meeting, and surprisingly got it quite quickly. And in the first meeting, and I'd pitched several ideas, actually. I had a few others on the go, but Girls Club was my primary idea I was most excited about. And in the meeting, there's a few people there, and the CEO, Gabe, I'd all written it out. I was trying to be very professional. And he said, yeah, I think this looks fantastic. I think we should do it. So right in that first meeting, and I paused and I thought, oh, right now? Okay. So I said, it seemed a little bit unbelievable that it just had been greenlit so quickly. And so I said,
but it's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, I thought so. I thought there'd be more red tape or hoops or something, or like, let us think about it and get back to you.
Well, if anybody is in the autism community, well knows there's red tape in every single avenue you turn. So your thoughts on that issue are not unfounded.
Totally. And I just, the ease with which the conversation went, they were excited about it. And so I said, okay, well, let me take this away into next steps. So the first thing I did was create a bit of a brochure that just said, hey, we're starting a girls club. If you're interested, email me here. And then the Pacific Autism Family Network helped me send that out through their network. I sent it to all of my daughter's therapy providers, to her preschool and other parents, and I put it on Facebook parent support groups, of which there are quite a number. I think there's probably tons. I think I'm in about 4 or 5 different ones for the Lower Mainland related to autism or special needs children. And I got responses right away, and it started to grow quickly, and we went from there.
That sounds fantastic. And why do you feel this group is important for our female community members?
I think it's important because it's a calm, relaxed, well, not necessarily calm. I say that, and then I have to tell a story about how a spontaneous karaoke party broke out at our first and most recent event. So that wasn't necessarily calm, but it's a relaxed, no pressure, no expectation environment. It's not therapy. I think our kids have a lot of opportunities to engage in therapy, not a lot of opportunities to hang out with their peers in a anything goes kind of environment. So,
and that's so important.
Yeah, like for fun and for friendship. And I say it's fun, it's friendship, it's frivolity, it's not therapy, there's no expectations. So participate in ways that feel good to you. Some girls are able to participate in ways that would be more typically or more traditionally obvious, and others less so. So, I really wanted to keep it like that for our group. And I didn't know of anything that existed like that around. And I had looked. And at one point, there was an adapted dance class that I wanted to take my daughter to. She loves to dance.
Yes.
And I phoned ahead and I said, my daughter has a really tough time following instructions, and she's more of an observer. She wants to participate on her terms, but if she feels that there is pressure to perform a certain way, she will withdraw. So, can we take this class? And they were very generous and polite about it, but essentially the answer was, we don't think this class is a fit for you.
And you want to know what? That's an actual common thing that we parents on the spectrum hear often from groups that just say, it'd be great, but we don't think it's a right fit. So
and this was an adapted class. So this was a class for neurodiverse children. And even
that's not uncommon either, unfortunately. I mean, that might be a shock to many of you listening, but that's not uncommon either.
Yeah. So I thought, nope. And I can say same with gymnastics, same with several other things we tried. And I thought there's nowhere to go where my daughter can be with other kids and participate in ways that feel good and meaningful and fun to her. So I want to create it myself, and that's what we did.
And that's fantastic. So the purpose of the Girls Club, in your words, would be?
The purpose of the Girls Club is really to provide community, connection, friendship, and fun. I say it's frivolous, but it's not. It's also very meaningful because these girls get a chance to connect together, and it just may take more time. With my daughter, she's very interested in other children, but she needs an exponentially large amount of opportunities and practice to form the same kind of connection that you or I might do in the first 5-10 minutes of meeting each other. Like when I was a small child, I was very extroverted, as I remain today, no surprise. And I would walk into a classroom and have little best friend within like the first day. I'm coming home from my first day of kindergarten with a best friend. No problem.
Yes.
This will not be my daughter's reality. She will need multiple opportunities spread over a period of time to create the same thing.
And once again, that's not an uncommon story.
Right. And so I thought, if that's my daughter's story, there's got to be, I remember thinking at one time, there's got to be a dozen girls across the Lower Mainland that this would also work for. Because my number at first was like, if I could get a dozen, I'll feel very successful. And as you know, we mentioned before we started this podcast, it's well more than that.
And the reason why I'm chuckling is please let our audience know how many you did have.
Yeah, so we had, right now, we have about 55 membership people who filled out membership forms.
Yes.
And at our first event, we had about 40 girls, plus a lot of them brought more than one family member. It was quite celebratory. So we kind of lost track of the numbers that we had to abandon the front door because we were getting a bit busy.
Yes.
Around 90 people, which was bigger than my wedding. So it was.
That's an awful lot of people that are
Yeah.
really keen for such a group. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
And what's the history of Girls Club?
Well, the history is we're pretty new. I was noodling the idea sort of late last year. So, November, December 2016, thinking, this idea about how do I give my daughter more opportunities to make friends and be social. And I had been reading a really good book at the time called What Every Autistic Girl Wishes Her Parents Knew, which is a wonderful book for parents who have an autistic child, girl in particular, but I would say it applies to the stories in there, applies to boys. It's an anthology of short stories written by autistic women, reflecting back on what it was like to be a young girl with autism.
And we'll have that book on our webpage as part of your box as well.
Oh, good. Yeah. And the Pacific Autism Family Network Library has 5 copies of that book, if that people can borrow. So I had read that book, and that kind of started giving me an idea. And I follow some parent blogs and some blogs that are written by people with autism, and just sort of getting this idea of how important it is for autistic people to spend time with other autistic people, to see your community reflected back at you. And,
of course.
That's what gave me the idea. So I started in January is when I contacted the Pacific Autism Family Network and said, I'd really like to discuss some ideas with you for clubs or groups or activities that I think need to be happening in the center. Who can I talk to? And that's what brought me to that meeting with Gabe and a few of the people who work here in this building, and it went from there. So it fast-tracked. That was January. February, the brochure went out. March, I've been getting forms in like crazy, and April, we had our first event.
And you had a brilliant, successful event, too.
We did. It was so much fun.
And I mean, it really doesn't surprise me, because I know even doing this podcast, the multitude of comments that I've received are, there's not enough stuff for the girls on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Everything seems to be directed towards the boys. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that you're doing this, I knew it would take off. So I think it's fabulous. And what are the guiding principles?
The guiding principles, and I've said them, friendship for sure. We believe that genuine relationships improve the quality of life for everybody. And, there's this misconception that autistic people don't want friends or can't make friends or don't care if they have friends. And as you know, as a mom, that's completely not true.
It's absolutely not true.
Absolutely not true. It just might be a little bit more difficult to start up a friendship and maintain a friendship. Our guiding principle is fun. We're about fun and frivolity. We're not therapy. We are a place to relax. We are a place to unwind. Be yourself. That was the big thing. Don't try or need to be something else. Yeah.
And inclusion seems like a theme here. Can you talk about that?
Yes, thank you for asking that. That's a huge, big part of it. That's our third guiding principle is inclusivity. So no barriers to membership. So we want girls of all ages and abilities. So by all abilities, I mean, we don't care how independent you are or not. I'm not a fan of functioning labels. I don't use them. If other people want to, that's fine. I just say level of independence, or regardless of required supports is how I prefer to say it. So if you're a girl who requires, or I should say young woman or a woman, requires support, I would love for you to come to Girls Club, and whatever support you need, let's allow that person to come with you and help there in a way that you need and feels good to you. All ages. I think there's a lot of age cutoffs that make no sense to me.
And me neither. I agree.
Yeah. So there's, first of all, there's the funding cutoff at 6, and then there's the cutoff at adulthood. Like autism suddenly disappears when you turn 18, and I feel like there's this idea too of what is age appropriate, and that doesn't make sense to me either. I think, I have a 43-year-old husband who likes comic books. Is that age appropriate? Nobody questions that because he's neurotypical. But when you're autistic and maybe you like Disney,
yes,
and you're, 17, that's not okay. And I say, oh, it's okay. It's all okay by me. So
absolutely,
age appropriate means nothing to me. And I just thought inclusive means all ages, all abilities. It means us being together and just seeing each other. I see you, I hear you, I'm here for you. And the other part of that is I wanted to keep it free. So we don't charge membership fees. We don't charge drop-in fees. There's no participation fee whatsoever. The only exception to that would be field trips. So if we decided as a group we wanted to go swimming and let's all meet at the pool, it would be whatever, $5 or it costs to get in. I don't know what it costs to get in the pool, but it would be that. Or if we decided to go to the aquarium.
And when you're going to those events, can you use your autism funding given to us by the British Columbia government?
That is a great question. I'm not exactly sure how that part of it works. I think, and I would hope so, but my mandate to myself is to seek out as free as possible events. So when we're having events here at the Autism Center, those are free. When we're doing field trips to the beach or the park or the playground, those are free. When we're doing an event that has a cost, I'm aiming to keep costs as low as possible, and also it's within me to call ahead and try and get a group rate or discount or sweet talk them into free entry or
Absolutely.
That's my thing.
And all of these things you're mentioning sounds like such fun, but what's your vision for the Girls Club?
My vision is the exactly what we do activity wise. Is not so much, I have ideas and we got the girls to participate at the first event with lots of different ideas, but my vision more globally is really, to be that warm place of community and connection and friendship and fun, and to allow the girls to connect with each other. We have, we want to give them those multiple opportunities and extra time and space to do so. And finally, to give parents a place to connect. That was probably the thing about our first meeting that delightfully so, but surprised me a bit, that how much parents want to connect and talk and feel supported and also look around the room and be like, wow, like these families are sharing in our experience and we have so much in common.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important when parents do get together at those type of events to connect with other parents and talk and share and to not feel so alone. Because I find typically what happens, many family members stay home alone and they don't necessarily get out and meet other families in the same situation. But your group allows families to connect with other families, and maybe friendship groups will even start at the adult level in that group.
That's what we're hoping for. I did have one parent pull me aside at our most recent meeting saying just that this was so unique for their family because they have become very isolated. They felt it was a real challenge to go out publicly in the community for a number of reasons, and that Girls Club was a safe place for them all to be, where they can feel comfortable and relax. So I was clearly not happy to hear that they were having that challenge and feeling so isolated, and we have been there also. It was just more so happy to hear that we have given them that opportunity to get out there and connect, and that's exactly what we wanted, because we've all been there at some point. Yeah.
I think it's vital, and you can't put a dollar sign on that. I think the environment that you're allowing parents like that to feel comfortable in a setting like that, I think is priceless.
Yeah.
And it's just a testament to how much more work needs to be done for autism awareness in the community. So
Absolutely.
for people out there contributing to the ignorance of autism, educate yourself so that families like this person who came up and spoke to you can feel more comfortable, which they have every right to do out in the world and in society. And where is the Girls Club located? Is yours the only one, or are there others?
Well, right now, Girls Club, there's one Girls Club, and it's this one for the Lower Mainland. I'm talking with a woman who would like to start up a chapter in the Okanagan, and we've been talking pretty seriously about it. We met last week for coffee and went through what that would look like, what she would need to get up and running, because she had heard about us and just thought, absolutely, yes. And she wants this for her daughter and her community. So right now, the Lower Mainland is the only chapter, but I would like to see us grow. I was joking around with my husband that first we'll be across BC, then Canada, and then we're going to take over the world.
Absolutely. No, that's my mentality. I agree with you. And how do you actually join?
Oh, it's very easy. I had started with a very thorough membership form. So the first 10 people to join filled out this 6-page form. And then quite quickly I realized I can't keep up with that. So now it's basically, name, age, email address sort of thing. But the form is on our website, and our website is inGIRLSCLUB, inGIRLSCLUB.com. And there's a drop down for membership form.
And all of those details will be on the autism30.com webpage. And what do volunteers mean to the group, and what qualifications do they need?
So volunteers are something that we haven't quite gotten ready for. Again, the Girls Club moved so fast and got so big, and which is amazing. And people started filling out the volunteer form on our website as well, and I realized I need to have a much better grasp of what I want volunteers to do and who our volunteers need to be. And because we have children in the room, it's quite obviously they'll need a criminal record check at a minimum. But am I looking for BIs? I don't know. This isn't therapy. Am I just looking for girls, to help out? They're run like miniature events, so it's a lot of
course.
Is it setup and cleanup? Is it participation? What does this look like? And really what I wanted to do is to offer volunteer opportunities to people on the spectrum. So,
which is wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. So maybe I was going to say teens or young adults looking for volunteer hours that they might need towards a school practicum or I don't really know, but or even just for their own enjoyment. This might be a really great volunteer opportunity for adults on the spectrum. What I haven't quite figured out yet, and somebody on one of the support teams asked me this question, is then how would they, if it's a girl on the spectrum who's volunteering in Girls Club, how is she different than one of the big sisters? And when I couldn't answer that question, I realized I haven't figured out the whole volunteer thing yet. And in the meantime, people are applying to be volunteers. So I've asked them, I've said, I love the enthusiasm. Please be patient with me while we figure this out, what our volunteer roles will be. And in the meantime, send me your resume and send me also just answers to 2 questions. And the questions are, why Girls Club? So why do you want to volunteer at Girls Club? And also, what do you think would make you a really good volunteer? And then we'll take it from there. I have, a background in working with volunteers professionally, so I have the hugest amount of respect for volunteers. They make so many organizations run with their heart and their blood and sweat and tears, and I think they're amazing. So I look forward to having a group of volunteers supporting Girls Club. I just haven't quite figured that out yet.
And you mentioned something in your statement. You said about sisters.
Right.
And I know you've stated this on your website. So can you please go into what a big sister and a little sister is?
Yes, thanks. So along the lines of there's no age limit. So I said, we're open. So right now, our youngest member is 3, and our oldest member is in her late 20s. So we have quite a wide range of ages.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that makes us unique. And I think it does a few things. Why I like it is it makes us unique. It gives the younger girls in Girls Club, role models or mentors to look up to and to see themselves, reflected back at them, which is so important. It allows older members in Girls Club, if they wish to be a role model or a mentor, or to act in a volunteer capacity, or impart their knowledge or whatever, however they choose to participate, whatever makes sense for them. So I really like those opportunities for cross-generational, but maybe not the right word, but cross-generational big sister, little sister type connections and relationships. And some older girls feel more comfortable and like to play with younger girls, and some don't. They just want to be with their peers. So we're kind of anything goes. So we decided to talk about, and when I say we, I've had a number of conversations and so much help from Abby Gates, who works here at the Pacific Autism Family Network.
She's fabulous, and we've had a podcast with her as well, talking about Blazing Soccer Dogs,
yes.
Another organization that she created.
Them too. Yeah. So, and because Abby had started Blazing Soccer Dogs, so she's been there, done that in terms of getting an organization up and running.
And that's a really well-oiled machine. She's done a great job.
Wonderful. It's so great for families and so great for kids. And she has really helped me so much with asking me really great questions and offering advice and just helping and just spreading the word. And so when I say we, I'm probably often talking about Abby. So we had talked about this idea of big sisters, little sisters. My daughter is 5, her daughter's older, so that's sort of what that started. Then when all of the membership forms started to roll in, I thought, well, where's the cutoff between a big sister and a little sister? Like the age, I initially kind of thought 12, and I thought that's not really working for me here. So I've since come up with, there's 4 categories of sisters. We have our wee sisters, which are really little, like 0 to 6. Then we have what I call our little sisters, 7 to 10. Our middle sisters are, I think, 11 to 14. And then what our big sisters are, 15 and up.
Yes.
So recognizing as we grew, there will be times and opportunities for girls who want to hang out and connect within their age groups. Because let's say we want to do like a girls' night and go to the cinema and go see a movie. Well, my daughter goes to bed at 7 p.m. So this is not an activity for her because she's 5. So maybe all of our middle sisters and big sisters would want to go to a movie, or that's just some kinds, just different activities. Like I said, I by no means want to section them off by age,
no.
But I do want to give them opportunities if they choose to connect outside of Girls Club to do that. So at our first event, we had sign-up sheets. So if you want to, we call them like join your sisters in age, then put your name on the appropriate list according to your age. And I've set up different distribution lists so that all the big sisters have each other's information. All the little sisters have the parents of the little sisters have each other's information. So that's what the sisters are.
But I think that's great, because what you're doing is you're creating friends groups within this organization that you're creating and starting. So the difficulty in meeting friends, you're actually facilitating that very, very easily and well within their peer groups, as well as cross-generationally as well. Yeah. And you mentioned parents. Now, can parents or guardians stay and join in, or do they have to leave?
No, they have to stay, actually.
Perfect.
From a liability perspective. So we're not insured to be like a daycare or a drop-off or anything like that. We don't have people sign those types of forms, and I don't have that kind of insurance. So when the girl in Girls Club is under the age of 19, then an adult has to participate with her.
Yes.
And by participate, I don't necessarily mean be by her side. What I mean is needs to be there. So if we're at the autism, if we're here at the Autism Center and let's say the girl's about 14, 15 and quite independent, doesn't need the parent there, the parent can bring her to, we use the lounge area that has like the couches and the TV and the kitchen, a really great cozy space. To me,
yes.
Beautiful. So we use that room, but the parent might then take a book or his or her laptop or whatever down to some of the down to the main lobby, down to one of the little cozy nooks. Might
and
get
there's
a couple
wonderful
hours.
space around
Oh
there.
yeah, so much breakout space, so much private space. So you have to stay in the building, but you don't need to stay in the room if But for me, my daughter's only 5 years old. I wouldn't leave. So we're really expecting parents to know their child and whether their child can be left alone in the environment or not. And then if the girl member is an adult, then we expect obviously she's coming on her own.
And you mentioned parents, but what about fathers? Are fathers welcome to join because it's a girls group?
Right. Yeah. I thought about that. After I had really in my mind's eye thought of like mums and daughters, like a mommy and me.
Well, that's why I'm bringing up the question.
Yeah. And I had an inquiry from a gentleman about his daughter, and I thought, well, yes, of course. Like, of course dads could be involved, or, there might even be single dads that have custody of their girls, or they're just, involved. Like my husband is really close with our daughter and very involved, and he was at the first Girls Club event. And so yes, of course, dads for sure can come. And I was actually quite pleasantly surprised at the number of dads that were at our first event.
Which is great.
Yeah, it was really great. And it's a chance for dads to meet other dads too, or dads to meet, just parents to mix and mingle and talk.
And when do you have your sessions?
So we meet twice a month on the second Thursday of the month here at the Pacific Autism Family Network. That's in the evening. And we also meet the last Sunday of the month in the afternoon. So the afternoon Sundays are out in the community. We might be at a beach or a park or a playground, or we might do a field trip to, the aquarium or Science World or wherever.
That's
so
fun.
We're trying to do a good combination of indoor, outdoor.
And in your opinion, what are the common misconceptions that you want to clarify about autism?
Yeah, so many. Like, I think this idea that autistic girls or people can't make friends, don't want friends, don't care. Of course they do. They need more practice, they need more opportunity, maybe more patience. I think that's definitely one. I think for me in particular, something I like to talk about when I talk about autism is presuming competence. So
yes.
This idea that you can judge a book by its cover with, and I mentioned earlier, functioning labels, which I'm not a fan of. And to me, a giant misconception is that somebody who doesn't talk, for example, that they don't understand. My daughter doesn't speak currently, and I can tell you she does understand. She has strong receptive language, and she can understand everything that we're saying. She's unable to express herself. So these misconceptions around social ability or social desire and intelligence and empathy and all of these things that unfortunately somehow got into pop culture around what autism is it's really disheartening because they're so inaccurate.
I agree. And I think the media really needs to do a better job of representing autism in a more accurate way. I fully agree with you. And what do you love about the work that you're doing?
I am so in love with everything right now.
And the passion is just exuding from you, which is wonderful.
Thanks. What I love the most, okay, so this might be a long answer. What I love the most is that we're seeing the girls connect. I saw 2 girls at our most recent event. They're around 15 years old, meet for the first time, and then stick together like glue for the whole time. Exchange numbers and email addresses at the end of the night, make plans to get together again. I asked them, I said, will you be at the next Girls Club event? And one turned to the other and said, well, I'll go if you go.
That's
and the
so
girl said,
great.
okay, well, I'll go if you go. So they made that decision together, and it was just delightful. So that's,
Oh, of course.
that's what I love. But I also love all the parents that I'm meeting, watching the parents interact. I love getting to know more people in the autism community. So I've really gotten to know the people that work here at the Pacific Autism Family Network, because they have been so helpful and so supportive. And I've gotten to know a few people that work for Autism BC as well here, also in this building. So we have support from Autism BC. They do a lot of our back-end support. They're helping promote. They're helping me get funding. They're helping with, a lot of administrative support. So that's also been such a great feeling, just to say, wow, like we're such a community and we really care about each other. So, it's a win-win-win-win. The girls, the parents, I'm getting to work with some really incredible people. So it's all been good.
That sounds fantastic. And finally, what do you want the world to know about autism?
What do I want the world to know? I want the world to know that, about autism is that autism needs to be accepted. I'm all for autism awareness. I'm even more for autism acceptance. So I would like the world to move in that direction. And as I mentioned previously, to sort of get over some of their common misconceptions and realize that, yes, autistic people often can act differently, and that may, at first you might not know what to do with that. And that's okay. Ask questions, be open-minded, be compassionate, be accepting.
Yes.
And then let's go from there.
That's great advice, and I hope the society that's listening to this podcast is hearing. Well, I want to thank you very much, Vicky, for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
And if any of you out there have questions for Vicky or the Girls Club, you can find all of their contact details on our webpage at autism30.com. We've hoped you've had a wonderful day, and this is Tally telling you to live in love.
Hey yo, I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protect the different, the stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause the view from the spectrum is a better point